Alright guys, and here we are for... This is March, right? Yeah, March.
Are we in March already?
Yeah, I think so. Today, or tonight, we have got myself, Cameron, Raymond, Mark, Luke, and Nick, both for once. And we have a special guest joining that's going to sit quietly in the corner, unless she particularly wants to say hi. It's Lauren.
Hi. Bye. No, I'm here, but not really.
Alright guys. Oh god, it's already coming out.
I just remember that's something
I found
else
my
to do
harmonica! I feel like that should be top of the order for tonight, is I found my harmonica. So, well, I didn't say I found it. I don't mean that. I mean, Rebecca decided to pull it out of the bag and give it back to me. So you have Rebecca to thank for this.
Sorry.
I'm pretty sure we heard a sorry there.
There was a sad sorry from the background as well.
Alright, so, who's got news for us to start with?
I have news.
Excellent.
Yes. It's a secret though. No one's allowed. No, so when was the last time? Last month, right? So in that time we had Alita Battle Angel come out, we had Captain Marvel come out a couple of days ago, we had Anthem come out, the pre-patch get properly announced for WoW, the Overwatch League start, Pokemon Sword and Shield announced, some bullshit stuff for Xbox. Epic has popped a brand new game called Satisfactory onto the workshop, which looks really damn good. So there's a boatload of stuff that's happened in the last month. So plenty to have a sample of in regards to tasting. Oh, and of course, the pièce de résistance of news is, of course, the Civ 6 Gathering Storm, which is the most important piece of news that anyone should really care about.
Well, someone's done their homework.
Homework? I don't believe in homework, Cameron. I'm a teacher.
How about we hit the low-hanging fruit first of Anthem? Because I'm pretty sure chronologically that's probably the first one for the month, and
I don't think I listed anything else there that started with A, so alphabetically, yes, it's also first.
So,
Alita?
what's everybody's thoughts? It was probably the biggest game we were all looking forward to for the month.
I think in like the first ever SomeCast we did, I said Anthem was one of my top games I wanted to try.
And now that you've played it, what's your feelings?
When it first came out, I was a big supporter of it. I was like, come on guys, give it a chance. You know, they fucked up, there's glitches everywhere, but there's a solid game in the background.
Oh, we have Anton joining us.
That's it. Kill him. He's muted as well. Hey Anton.
So, just setting up Anton.
This is a hot mess at the moment, to be honest.
You're a hot mess.
Thank you.
Oh, baby.
Anyway, so, like I was saying, yeah, I was a big supporter of it, you know, telling people give it a go, wait till they do their patches and everything, but to be honest, I've sort of got bored of it already. Like, I might come back to it, but I've sort of stopped playing for a while.
Yeah. I'm
It's
actually...
another... Sorry?
I gotta admit, I'm well and truly in the same boat of... I've just basically already hit the I'm sick of it point.
Look, you're only a couple of missions into the campaign. I don't know what you're complaining about.
I didn't even know there was a campaign. I've done like a mission and a half of the tutorial, and no, it's probably another week away from finding the uninstall button.
Well, as someone who has actually finished the story, the game itself was all well and good. It just doesn't have any replay value, and also doesn't have any real reason to grind after you finish the story. So, at least having finished the game, I'm quite happy to boycott it at this point.
There's no end game content.
There is, but none of it appeals to me to the point that I would grind to achieve it.
So back to Destiny then.
Well, I've tried. No one seems to be biting at that little low-hanging fruit. But anyway,
Yeah, I'm saying it got to
lower.
the point where you even messaged me last night. Let's play Destiny 2.
and Mark's like, oh, sorry, this is my night where I say no to games. I'm like, oh, well,
Isn't
thanks,
that every other night?
thanks for that little slap in the face. That's good. Nick and I just played something else. It was fine, but I was a little sad.
I was a little sad in Nick.
In
Nick, yeah.
I'm usually sad when I'm in Nick.
everyone
Oh.
don't take it too personally.
You drove
feel like
past the cinema and you could have joined us. Right on the side of the motorway. Half erect. Raymond is wrecked. No, we saw.
What?
I can't remember. It'll come to me. Anyway, continue.
So, Luke, as the one here that actually has finished the storyline,
Mm-hmm.
I've heard an awful lot that there's just no real end game to this. Would you say that that's right?
I would say that. The problem with the game has at the moment, and it's because it's really such early days, that there's no expansion, there's no new content to explore, and outside of just the stuff that you're playing and the missions leading up to the end game, that's pretty much it. You can go on little missions with people and play the early missions on hard difficulties, or even just create yourself a new pilot and replay the whole damn game from the start. But outside of that, that's all Anthem is at the moment, and all that, the lack of additional content this early on, because that's pretty much how people are. They've powered through to the end and now realised that there's nothing waiting for them at the end. Now they just have to sit around for the next few months until they release new content that may bring back some of the player base.
Something that
Yeah.
WoW always has done well.
I
Even though
was-
I'm irritated with them at the moment, they've always done it well.
I was actually going to say that. It's like, for all these games that are coming out that are trying basically to be MMOs, but not MMOs, of, what are they calling it? Live services or whatever. They seem to have all forgotten the major lesson that the MMO market learnt the hard way by WoW mauling everyone that tried to compete, of you need an end game. You need a huge amount of end game content to keep your player base.
Currently,
Well,
so that if we compare it to WoW, currently all Anthem has, from what I've read, is they have, to compare it to WoW Classic, is they have levels 0 or level 1 to 59. They don't have that level 60 content. There's nothing there to make you to want to keep playing.
I mean, I've no doubt they're working on something in the background, but the fact of the matter is,
Great.
the reality is that they're just not ready. This was before it was ready.
it was very much before it was ready, and the fact that that one major patch update they had to put out just to fix a bunch of problems was evidence enough of that.
The reality of the situation is that Anthem will probably be a good game in a year's time.
Oh yeah, if in that time they release some expansion content and just find ways to add some better end game adventures, really, and I suppose some stuff that makes people want to either take part in the grind or is something there that allows people to not get bored of replaying something all over and over again. But in saying that as well, Anthem's not really that kind of game where I think you could be happy replaying missions over and over again. First-person shooters really don't have that sort of niche, unlike other games. Like, I mean, I know it's a staple, but stuff like Overwatch and all that, those are sort of games that are made to be replayed in the same areas over and over again, because that's just the way the game is made. First-person shooters don't have that luxury. Very few of them ever have the replay value. Unless, of course, you start going into the multiplayer field of something like COD, where you actually put people up against each other in various different modes. But then Anthem really isn't also that kind of game. So it's really stuck between a rock and a hard place as to what they can do.
Well,
Graham's saying that it's No Man's Sky in 2019. It's a great concept, but there's nothing really there.
Fair enough.
I think that's very true. Apparently, No Man's Sky is actually it got re-released or some bullshit a couple of months ago. Apparently, it's not bad now.
It got patched up to half decent.
Yeah, it's not a half bad game.
Like, I don't know if everybody else shares this thought, but I was thinking on Anthem the other day, and it's like the core gameplay is actually really quite fun. It's just that they seem to have forgotten to build a game outside of here's gameplay mechanics. And
one big tech demo, I believe I heard someone say.
I started thinking through it. It's like, what would I want to see this gameplay mechanics go into? And started thinking, well, I would have loved for there to be an actual, like, proper dungeon system and, like, a raid system. Like, embrace the MMO ideas in a first-person shooter of, here is a PvE raid environment where you need, like, 12 people, because the squad size seems to be 4, and you are going to get royally screwed if you do not bring somebody in each role.
True,
Like,
but if they started going down that line, it's sort of a question exactly what kind of game Anthem was trying to be.
well, that's the other thing. Like, I have no idea what Anthem's trying to be. Like, there's so much of it that's like, are you trying to be a single-player game? In which case, why the fuck are you implementing so much, like, here is multiplayer side of it, and how much of it seems to be based around this 4-person group? But likewise, if you're trying to be a 4-person co-op game, why does there seem to be absolutely no reason to spread out your roles? It seems to be entirely just all 4 of you just pick what you personally like, and you'll function fine. There's no advantage of doing anything else.
Exactly, and depending on the way you want to play, most of the content could also just be played by yourself. In which case, there's not even necessarily an emphasis for having to play it with a group.
They built a class-based shooter with no need to play all of classes.
Mm-hmm.
Anton?
And I'm pretty sure that there's a good chunk of their initial player base that basically quit when they realized that the game was really buggy to begin with, and that the patch that is needed to fix their issues wouldn't be released for another week or something.
Oh yeah, a lot of people are sticklers for those sort of things. At the moment they receive something and it's not up to release level quality, they'll drop it. That's just the way the world is at the moment. And
that's the way it should be.
Exactly.
If you're going to pay money for a game, you should be expecting to get a completed product.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah,
no doubt.
And at that point, people are just basically paying to play a beta and do bug testing for EA. Oh, well, by the way.
Sorry, did you say bug testing or loading time testing?
Yeah, a little bit of both, and might encourage people to replace their hard drive while they're at it.
Honestly, there are 2 games that came out within like a week or 2 of each other, Anthem and Apex Legends. You're going to have a lot more fun playing Apex Legends than you are going to have it playing Anthem. Play Apex Legends, not Anthem. They both start with A.
I think there's also a massive thing there of Apex was the game that Respawn decided they wanted to make and EA just did nothing about, whereas Anthem was the game that EA told BioWare they had to make. Methinks there's somebody in EA's planning department that's got no fucking clue.
It's amazing what happens when you let the developers make a game that they want to make. That's why Apex is so fun. Even though it is just... It's another cookie-cutter battle royale, but it's a little bit more than that. Quite a lot more. But it's fun. It's enjoyable, whereas Anthem is just... there. It exists.
It is a thing that is there.
I mean, since you're already talking about Apex Legend, what's the Respawn? Yeah, I see it. Respawn is now heading up the new Star Wars game for EA.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they actually make it for their wants. And not like EA's meddling. But knowing EA, I'm sure they can fuck up yet another Star Wars game.
Well, that's almost EA's bread and butter at this point, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. They've cancelled, I think, 3 or 4 Star Wars games and ruined 2 more.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Well.
Which is, like, that's the thing. Like, BioWare made great Star Wars games. Why did they get taken off of it?
I don't know, because they delivered Anthem.
No, because they got told to make Anthem.
If you guys are unable to make Anthem a good game, you're not going to make a Star Wars game.
Not sure that's how that works, but
It is.
I actually read an article somewhere where people were just basically saying that whenever a game does really poorly, EA just takes away all the resources needed to continue development on a game and just dump that resource elsewhere. So basically, you end up having a dead game.
But how the fuck did Titanfall become a good game then?
because Respawn owned all the rights to it and was basically funding it off their own back.
Alright, okay.
Like, Respawn only got bought out recently, didn't they?
I don't think they're not even technically bought out. They've got a partnership with EA. I'm pretty sure they still retain their own rights over everything.
Speaking of partnerships, is Destiny gone yet? No. Okay.
I'm under the impression that Titanfall 2 actually did quite well for itself.
It did, yeah.
The campaign really made it something special.
Yeah, I think the Titanfall series as a whole has actually done pretty well.
And like, if you have played through the campaign or looked at the cutscenes, they actually laid the groundwork for a sequel.
Yeah. I think we all expected there will eventually be a Titanfall 3.
But also, about a week ago, I think his name's Chris Avalon. He was a writer and designer for Knights of the Old Republic 2 and Fallout 2 and Fallout New Vegas. I don't know if it was like a leak or like they did on purpose, but like sort of said that he's been writing for the new Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order game as well. So interesting to see what happens.
I am intrigued. I just really want a good Star Wars game. A nice, fun Star Wars game.
There's been a lot of Star Wars game bundles on PC and like a few Xbox Live being released all Star Wars games, so I've been sort of getting into Star Wars games the last month or so.
My only issue is that they're old and they don't look as pretty anymore.
What I would really like to see is a remastered or like a new game based on Empires at War.
I'm unfamiliar with that one.
That's the grand strategy one, isn't it?
Empire.
That's one of the play modes.
Oh,
It has really decent
RTS.
space battles, skirmishes, which is basically like RTS in space.
There are 3 game modes: storyline, campaign, galactic conquest, and skirmishes. Planets can
So,
take
like
on
an old
land
Solaris?
and above the planet. Kinda. Actually,
I think the most played game mode back in the days is skirmish, not world conquest or galaxy conquest.
Huh. That'd be interesting, I reckon, as a remake, new type deal.
Yeah, and that game's actually was limited by the technology available at the time, and the multiplayer game modes were limited to 4 players, I think, or at least that was the limit for space battles. And I reckon with the tech they have now, they could easily do to 16-player games.
Well, server tech's improved an awful lot. Just in general.
Oh, sorry.
Nice contribution.
You're welcome, babe. Got your back, fam. Speaking of new
Yeah.
shit that's probably shit, is WoW. And Blizzard in general, I guess, because Overwatch League just kicked off. But the new WoW patch hits on Tuesday, 8.1.5. Relatively
So-
sparse.
Otherwise known as portal removal.
Yeah, fuck it. If you've ever wanted to do old content, you have until Tuesday to do it, because come Tuesday, pretty much all of the old portals are gone. They're going to get replaced by portal rooms. I say replaced, like 3 of the portals are getting replaced. And they're building a new portal room and plopping them in the capital cities. I understand why they're putting them in the capital city, but I don't like that they're removing all the portals to begin with. Doesn't make sense. But there's also a bunch of other stuff coming in 8.1.5. There's a mini raid, essentially. 2 bosses. There's a little bit of plot and a little bit of stupid bullshit garbage that has currently been the staple of the Horde plot. Fucking trash. It's okay.
Breathe in.
I think looking at the state of our raid progression, it really tells you a lot about the current quality of this expansion.
I gotta admit, I wouldn't. I'm interested to see what happens in August, because
That's the
Blizzard
expansion announcement, right?
Well, no, Blizzard will either, if they've got absolutely no faith in BFA, announce the next expansion, or they will be using August as a time, specifically Gamescom in August, as a time to just hype up the patches that are to come. So I think that will be really telling, because we know that there's an 8.2 coming. We know that there's at least another major patch coming, but
Yeah, they teased that at BlizzCon.
yeah, the simple fact is we haven't actually got anything solid on anything after that. So I would be it will be very interesting time to see what Blizzard's response is there and I think that's going to be the best insight we'll get into how this has actually gone for them, because I would not be surprised, just because of the way things are going, that if BFA hasn't just destroyed the subscriber numbers.
Oh, it definitely has. But it's
I would
okay.
actually go as far as to say that if Blizzard can't manage to introduce some exciting new content, new games in this next BlizzCon, they are essentially a dead company.
They have Overwatch and Hearthstone still, Anton. It won't be a dead company. They can keep beating the dying horse that is Hearthstone and Overwatch, as long as the Overwatch League continues to prove profitable.
Lost
It'll
Vikings.
still create a lot of money.
Lost Vikings remake confirmed.
Oh my god.
Yes, it's no secret that Blizzard is as successful as it is today or yesterday because of their impressive catalog of games and their history. And now all that's going to shit.
Oh yeah, they're rapidly burning through any goodwill they have with customers and consumers.
Yeah, next thing you know, they're gonna have like StarCraft in VR just to kind of reuse the title.
If it was FPS, maybe it'd be interesting, but I don't think over-the-top view would be fun as a VR. That'd be very weird.
It'd be like your god.
What? Oh, I'm following now. I thought you meant like it would be your god, not it's like you are a god.
Actually, I think there is a over-the-top real-time strategy VR game out. Can't remember what it's called though.
Mark's Fantasy.
Mark's Fantasy. Ooh.
Shall Mark Simulator.
Oh. Ah. Yeah, we have that WoW bullshit coming. I'm fully prepared to be 110% disappointed, completely and utterly. However, though, there is good news in Overwatch League. The Shanghai Dragons. They, after, was it 42 losses, Nick?
42 straight losses.
Yeah, 42 straight losses. They had their first win.
Lucky
Yay.
game number 43.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rep my Shanghai Dragons cosmetic skin now.
Yeah.
Well, you may as well.
Why
They're doing
not?
a lot
I
better.
mean, yeah. Aren't they in like the top 10 at the moment?
Well, actually, thing is, I mean, I think thinking about the people who are on the bottom of the ladder, yeah, I think they would be somewhere pretty close to the middle. Because I think last time I checked the roster, the standings, the LA Valiant were repping the bottom with like 6 straight losses.
Yeah, that is so rough because Valiant's
they were such
been my team.
Rip. Los Angeles Valiant 0-7 as of today.
Yeah, they were such a huge team last season. Now this time around, they can't even catch a break with a single win.
No, at least it's like a reasonable win-loss on maps, but their matches are just going so badly as a whole.
Shanghai have actually won 3 games, which is amazing and honestly very surprising. Where am I? Where's my team? Where are they?
Who is your team?
Fuck! The London Spitfire. They're tied for 11th.
Oh, I wouldn't put too much faith in them. I mean, they lost their first match, and it's been downhill ever since. Apparently, they're just one of the teams that can't play goats.
Well, here's hoping those nerfs come in.
We
Are
keep saying that every
nerfs
single
Tuesday?
time. I don't think most of the nerfs that they're doing these days still isn't enough to stop people from playing something that they've already become masters in.
Have you looked at the new patch notes? They've completely gutted the core of what makes a goat a goat.
Oh, I know, but the fact of the matter is, as a unit, those 6 members still make that a very impossible to beat team.
Yeah, they will be beatable after this.
They will be eventually, and to be honest, I look forward to it.
The new hero, Batista Bomb. He's been in the PDR for 2 weeks now, hasn't he? So yeah, he should be out on Tuesday. Normally they leave them cooking the PDR for 2 or so weeks before they bring him in.
Based on what I've watched and seen, he looks like he's pretty much ready to go.
Color me excited. Gonna make ranged DPS great again.
He
Then
has some chances to be really good in the role he is. But the thing I was a bit concerned about was when they first released him, they said, "Oh, he's going to be main healer material." But after watching him on the PTR, he's at best he's more like a secondary healer like Zenyatta or something. His utilities once they're on cooldown makes him pretty much a squishy. It's hard to say how useful he will be. I think the biggest drawback to him is the fact that he can only heal with his burst aura. I think if he could heal with his own nades, if he could heal with his own nades, it'd be fine because it would be like rushing in with Arno and throwing your little nano grenade in. So
Baptiste would just run into the team fight, aiming at the floor, shooting with his grenades.
Pretty much, and honestly, I'm surprised that because if they would have made that a thing for him, he would have had huge survivability. But
You wouldn't have needed Arna then.
Well, that's the deal with the main healer though. Is he going to knock Mercy, Ana, or Moira off of their position?
Nope.
I would like him to join them up there. Oh, Lucio's getting knocked even further down, which makes me upset. I wanted to play Lucio this season. They're fucking with his wall ride again. Just leave his wall ride alone.
But to be fair, he's going to be the same one, keep getting nerfs because he's one of the core members of the Goats team. So if you want to play him, you may as well play him now because he's just going to get worse.
Back back when Mercy was an instant pick no matter what.
Hey, I had a great time in that matter.
Oh, that was great. That was awesome.
Hashtag Mercy Main.
You know,
I'm just really glad. Sorry, I was just going to say that I'm really glad that Baptiste doesn't have a CC.
Honestly,
he has immortality, but yeah, no CC.
True, and the immortality is a very useful ability. Making sure that you don't leave it in the middle of nowhere, in line of sight, like I've seen most people throw it. If you put it behind a wall and have it project out around the wall to your team, then it's the perfect utility.
An inverse Diva Bomb.
Yeah, the only thing is, even though it's perfect countering a Diva Bomb, the best way to counter Baptiste at the moment is a Junkrat. Because his Riptide can just wait out the entire thing. It's long enough that even if he drops it out late, the Riptide will be up longer than his immortality field.
Oh, but he can easily destroy the Riptide.
Yeah, that's why you hide
it. He has a burst fire little pea shooter thing.
Oh, I know. But yeah, that's what I've noticed anyway from what I've seen in some of the stuff at the PTR. Junkrat seems to be his counter.
So what you're saying is, when I play Junkrat, we're not going to have a counter.
Yeah,
well,
okay,
you see, they're saying that though. The only reason why Junkrat at the moment is a counter for him is because also on the PTR is they're experimenting with buffing all Junkrat's base damage by 20 points.
Oh yeah, I noticed that. They also, however, they have also reduced the amount of time it takes for him to get ult.
Yes, so much so that what was it? I read somewhere that if he has a mercy pocket on him, every grenade that he launches at someone that's a direct hit does like 182 damage.
Yeah, but you said his ult builds faster.
His ult also builds faster, yes. So and
But
because
they changed that so it would build slower. Okay. Because they decided that it was a bit too quick.
Well, because he's putting out more damage, that means his ult will build much faster. So in actual fact, if they're going to buff his damage, they need to decrease the charge of his ult to compensate.
So it's probably a net no change.
Effectively. Although in saying that, his raw damage alone just means he can delete people much faster. It's kind of like the old Holt hook. On the side, not the Holt hook, just the old Roadhog hook shoot combo.
That old Harry Potter spell, Fetus Deletus.
The look at shift, you die.
Exactly. I miss the old hog.
Rest in peace, Hoggy. He was a good pig.
Ah, dear.
Alright. Well, I think Mark had a long list of Xbox stuff he was talking about earlier.
Look,
away,
that's
Mark.
possibly true. Also, it's all just mumbled together and gibberish, so I don't know how articulated I'll be. Basically, it's been a pretty big month for Xbox. I don't know if it's all been planned. It's all seems to be related to the same topic of Xbox going cloud-based service, diskless Xboxes, and just it all seems to be air quote leak stuff, and it's all connected together. I don't know, but basically, what's his name? Major Nelson, the big head honcho. He had a podcast or something a month ago, and he just I'm losing thought here.
He leaked things. He's a big leak. I'd chop him up and put him in a soup.
Right.
Yep. I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, to just back it up one for a moment, I honestly reckon a diskless Xbox One is a pretty smart move based on the rumours that are going around. For those that haven't heard, there's plenty of rumours happening that the next generation of Xbox, there's going to be basically they're going to launch what would be the equivalent of the S and the X at the same time, with the S equivalent being disc-free and digital only, and the X equivalent still having a disk drive. So, in my opinion, this is them actually just trying to test the waters a bit on what's going to happen here and see what sort of splashback they're going to get.
Negative.
I think it would be pretty positive. like all the different consoles have their own gimmick that everyone picks it for. Like PlayStation has its exclusives. Nintendo has all its like arcadey kiddie games and it's portable. And Xbox, yeah, well, I say kiddie games, but I would still play them like Smash Brothers.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure there's a Luke and a Nick here that might strongly disagree about Smash Bros being a kiddie game.
Look,
Well,
we're
that's
all
because
kids
they
at
are
heart.
kids.
I am a big kid.
I'm a big kid now.
Yay!
I'll fight you. Smash Bros is a really good game.
Carry on, Mark.
Yeah, and yeah, Xbox has its PC and console connectivity and the Game Pass, and they seem to really be trying to build on that. Like, they've been secret leaks announcements of having a Game Pass subscription system on the PC, so I'm not sure how that's going to link in, whether if you can buy them as a bundle or they're a separate thing you have to buy. Because currently, if you get the Xbox One, there's Play Anywhere games, so you can play the PC games that are on the Xbox. There was also potential leaks at the Halo Master Chief Collection that has... I'm not sure which games are in it. Is it like it's Halo?
1, 2, 3, ODST, and 4.
Yeah, it's Reach isn't in it.
No, Reach isn't in it, or at least isn't yet. But yeah, I am aware of the leaks you're talking about, and those have been going back for a while. That they're saying that eventually it's going to get a PC release, and I think it's all at the stage that it's pretty much just outright confirmed.
Yeah, like, Microsoft isn't really saying anything about the rumors. Like, they're not shutting anyone down or anything. They're just letting people say random stuff that anyone can really quote. Like, everyone's been saying that for ages. But apparently there's going to be some sort of Game Pass system, and the MCC is going to be on the PC version.
Which I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, you're a big advocator of Halo on PC.
I think Anton's just pro Spartan program in general.
I'm a big advocator of you.
Yeah.
There was also the head of planning for Game Pass, Matt Percy, like announced a bit of stats on their Game Pass system, where sort of like the subs have been increasing by 20%, and like they've noticed tracking people's history that people that usually play like AAA titles and stuff, like about 40% of those people are actually being more diverse and like going and checking out the platformers, checking out the indie games, and all the games are getting like a lot more, traction than they would if they weren't on the Game Pass, which is really interesting.
I definitely noticed that with Origin in particular as well, when I purchased the bullshit pass thing. I would never have played Need for Speed Rivals. It is not exactly what you would call an indie game, but no way in the world would I ever install Need for Speed Rivals and play it.
You say that, but I've got that on Xbox and I still hadn't played it until we played it on Origin.
To be fair, I actually just really like the idea of a flat subscription fee to get access to catalogs like that.
I just like my physical copies.
Yeah,
If
but
I have a console, I want my physical copy.
to be entirely fair, how big's your Steam library and you don't have physical copies of most of that?
The key word was consoles. I've still got my old Xbox with all my little Xbox games. I've got a PlayStation 4 with some PlayStation 4 games. I like looking at my games next to the console.
I've still got my Commodore 64 with all my floppy disks.
Oh boy, how old are you again? I just like having physical versions of the game to look at as well.
Another thing, which I haven't actually played it yet, but they do these like fake leaked emails. I think they call her name Melissa McGamepass, and like they have like a Twitter feed of like, oh, we're gonna release this game such and such on March, and there was supposed to be a big release on March the 7th, I think it was, and it turned out to be Just Cause 4, which is interesting. Like that only recently come out and it's already on the Game Pass.
Still have an actual NES and haven't used it for a few years. Jesus fucking Christ, Graham. Will it work if you turn it on, Graham?
Probably. Those things are big bricks.
A lot of the old consoles are actually really like sturdy.
Chuck them out of a plane, still turn on.
Except for 360.
I said
360.
old consoles, although in saying that 360's over a decade old now.
Yes,
I mean,
it
I've
counts as
seen
old.
more people talk about failures of the original Xbox than the old Nintendos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like Nintendo's also the company that used to have the test where they had to be able to drop a Game Boy from head height onto concrete for it to pass QA.
Oh dear. They should have done that with phones too.
They did.
Yeah,
It's called
laptops.
Nokia.
Yeah, the Nokia's destroyed the concrete. The concrete didn't pass QA.
I've dropped a gigantic brick Nokia off a dragline boom, and it's fallen on the ground and never broke.
I understood 2 of those words.
I can't remember the actual measurements, but it's like hundreds of meters in the air.
Okay.
Think gigantic crane.
Okay. Why'd you throw it out of a crane?
Fell out of my pocket.
Oh, that's just silly. Get better pockets, fuck. You big noob.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I've covered a lot of shit.
Yeah, you do want to cover your shit.
I usually just flush it.
What?
Yeah,
Okay.
Cover it with toilet paper and then flat. Anyway,
Well, there's one other one this last month that Luke and I stayed up to watch the announcement for.
Oh, that's right.
If Luke remembers, we got a new Pokemon game announcement formally.
I thought it was the Brazzers subscription you were waiting for.
Yeah, absolutely. Sadly, they don't cater to my level of usage, so there'll be
What?
complaints issued. But yeah, on to Pokemon.
Anyway,
Motherbound?
yes.
I don't know what a motherbound is.
Yeah,
You heathen.
please explain.
Hang on, I'll Google it.
It's like the original Pokemon. It was like the Japanese game that came out before Pokemon. It looks exactly like Pokemon. Or is it,
Motherbound.
no, Earthbound. Is it Earthbound? I'm thinking of.
Please be specific. Motherbound, Earthbound, those two seem like very different things.
No, I think it's called Mother, but it's also called Earthbound outside of Japan. I think that's what I mixed
Mother?
the two up.
Yeah, something like that.
Motherbound. Why do I feel like that's something that's so like Japan?
Video game consists of 3 role-playing games.
Anyway, on to Pokemon,
Yeah.
not Earthbound.
I agree. It's quite clear that Pokemon's still going and Earthbound is not. We know which was superior.
Oh, how dare you.
Digimon.
Yes, Digimon was far more superior.
To be entirely fair, I found out that that's actually still going too, as in the actual anime is still going, which I didn't actually expect. Anyway.
And I just thought I might quickly mention that apparently, I don't know how true it is, but apparently all the future or upcoming consoles will be using AMD hardware.
Well, that's
But
difficult
why?
to tell because normally they don't announce that shit until it's actually
Yeah, but why?
out.
Why would they do that? This is silly.
Well,
I mean,
as
it's also sort of linked to, like, Apple. Didn't they just get rid of Intel and they're going to make their own chips as well?
as it currently stands, both current generation consoles use AMD hardware for both their CPU and their GPU, so
Interesting.
it's not out of the question, really. Anyway, Luke, Pokemon. You are arguably the bigger fan.
I mean, you say that, but I can honestly tell you, of the last 2 or 3 Pokemon entries they've had, I have not gone to the end of them. It's
Yes. I will also agree to that statement.
it's not that I don't like the games. It's simply that it's so hard to find the time to put into the games these days, and I don't know what it is, but a lot of time, and I have the same issue with Nintendo Switch. I seem to struggle to keep my interest with games I can take anywhere than games that force me to sit in one place. So sometimes I just find myself leaving the Switch in its little docking station because I like the idea of being able to sit down and just play it on a couch than having to take it somewhere and play it in public. But that's just me. I'm weird. I seem to like things being stationary.
You're a sitting gamer.
I'm a very big sitting gamer.
You're anti-Pokemon Go then.
Well, I did try Pokemon Go for like 6 months, but honestly, I gave up on the exercise part of it, so the game fell through as well because I had to move.
On the matter of games getting good a year after their release, Pokemon Go was another example of that.
Oh yes, I was. What was it? They invited me to go for a raid against Rayquaza today. Good luck at that. But yeah, I get those on a daily basis, so it's still going very well.
I play Pokemon Go because I still have the app on my phone. Haha.
You're the best of us, Mark.
No, I was sort of quoting you. You don't play it, but you still got the app on your phone.
Actually, I think I may have just. I think I updated it because I'm like, I haven't used very much of my quota. What can I update? I may play Pokemon Go again. Download it. Well, that was a lie.
Anyway, new Pokemon.
Yes. So, we've now gotten to the crutch of the story. So, Kevin and I stayed up late the evening that they were announcing it. Ultimately, I can say after watching the announcement trailer for it, the graphics and the gameplay of it is basically, in my opinion, next level. I'm really keen to basically experience because unlike some of the previous entries to this game, this one is sort of taking a slightly different turn where we seem to be in an industrial era where basically a lot of the Pokemon seem to be based off of, I suppose, gear-like creatures from what I've seen, outside of your starters, of course.
Are we sure about that? Have they announced much? Because beyond like 3 or 4, I didn't think they had announced many.
I haven't seen too many of them, but some of the ones I've seen so far have been meeting that criteria, so I'm feeling that's just like trying to spark the, oh yeah, we're going into an industrial sort of age sort of thing. I'm sure not the majority of them are like that, but I imagine most of the other ones are fit very similar categories that have been filled by most Pokemon in other regions. But on the case of the starters that I saw, they, in my opinion, were probably the more lackluster of the entire announcement. Everything about the game, in my opinion, looked superb, but I felt like the starters are not really that interesting. They seem like or attractive. Fair enough, Anton. They feel like rehashes of some of the old. What do we find, Kevin? Like Generation 3, they sort of look like they were sort of copies of.
Honestly, first impression was that it just about looked like a duplication of Gen 3. On further revision, it feels like there's a little bit of like Gen 4 and 6? I'm not actually sure. It's sort of mixed in there, but like the general spread feels really Gen 3-y.
And I actually saw a meme the other day, which I actually thought, I sincerely hope it doesn't come true, where they compared all 3 of the starters and said, I wonder if like in previous games, all of these starters in their final evolutions will be just plain fighter types. Because looking at them, all 3 of them look like they're going to be your water, grass, and fire types. But at least 2 of them, namely the grass and the fire type, look like they are going to be fighters. And it's sort of like, the chicken one or the rabbit one. Sorry, what did I say? I want to say sorry, I meant to say bunny.
You said chicken because you were thinking Torchic.
I was actually thinking to myself, I feel like it's going to turn to a Blaziken and be like, oh yeah, I'm go. It's just going to be a big, massive fighting type with a little bit of fire on it.
Be fair, that
Oh.
was my go-to thought when you said basic turn into fighting types.
Exactly. I could think that's, and looking at most of them, it's like I sincerely hope that that's not going to be like, oh, every starter Pokemon for next generations to come are just going to become bona fide fighters.
But like, if you look at Gen 3, which was our first response, you had Trico that turned into Grovyle.
Yep.
Was Grovyle the second or the third? I can't remember. But either way, basically it was a grass normal, with the normal being very physical. Like, all of the moves were all physical moves. So just about a fighting type, but not actually a fighting type. You had Blaziken, which was outright a fire fighting, and you had Marshtomp. Marshtomp?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was water ground.
Was that
And-
the Mudkip evolution?
Yeah, and it's like, honestly, given that we have a water lizard, there is half a chance we end up with a water ground again.
Exactly. And yeah, I saw that meme and I honestly thought to myself, it would be very disappointing if that ends up being true. But I don't think they're going to be purely fighter types. But honestly, I think they're going to go pretty much the same direction that the Gen 3s, Gen 4s went, and they're just going to basically be those style of Pokemon, which probably isn't bad, but it's not going to be anything very new, which could make people not very interested in the starters, which, to be honest, my first impression is that's where I think the game probably isn't overly interesting. But outside of that, I think the region, the era, and the first look at the gameplay to me might just be redeeming enough that I can look past that.
I'd be interested in a side plot game with Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan as the starter Pokemon.
I mean, all you have to do is go back to the very early Pokemon games, get them, and then just don't use anything else.
Yes.
Thank you. I'll bear that in mind. I've only played one Pokemon.
You've only played one Pokemon or one Pokemon game?
One Pokemon game. The one where I had Oshawott as my starter.
No idea what that even means.
It's a
Oshawott.
weird-looking panda blue.
Look, if we're not talking
Yeah.
Gen 1 and 2, I've lost.
We're talking Gen 5, I believe.
I actually can't remember which one Oshawott was.
Oshawott is number 501.
That doesn't help me. I haven't looked into the 500s.
Don't worry, it helps me, because I was curious. You're like, all the starters are fighter types. And I'm like, I remember Samurott looking like a fighter, so I opened it up. No, Samurott is a water type. The only
Jesus.
starter from Black and White edition that is a fighter is Embor. He's the
Embor.
pig. Yeah,
Oh, yes, I remember him.
fire pig. Angry fire pig.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Gen 5, and it's like a panda, some sort of weird bird thing, and a pig.
Well, Gen 5 also was the one that gave us the beautiful Pokemon known as Trubbish, which was a rubbish bag. And,
I remember him.
and of course, a Vanillatite, which was an ice cream cone.
I think
They made these when they were hungry.
they went through hard times at the Nintendo
Vanilla.
Studios.
Vanillatite. My caps lock on.
there
it's
was
just
budget
Vanillite.
cuts, and they weren't being compensated for their meals.
Yeah, the Vanillite.
All
the
the-
Vanillish and the, oh my god, the Vanillux.
Oh my god.
I'm still sitting here laughing at Oshawott evolves to do what?
Yeah,
Dewott.
Oshawott evolves into Dewott, evolves into Samurott. Here, Cam, I'll send you a picture so you can quickly check this up, just so they can
Dewott?
understand what I mean.
Oh my god.
It's a link to the video, the picture, just so you can show them exactly what I mean by Vanillux being the best Pokemon ever created.
Right,
Nothing
anyway,
is better than the Vanillux.
getting back on top for a moment though, the other thing that we probably should discuss about the new Pokemon games is the names that they have chosen. The Pokemon Sword and Shield. A little bit.
I like it.
I mean, it's very different Because if you look at all the previous ones that they've done, they've normally either based them off of gems or some sort of element, whereas this time around we've just got straight sword and shield.
Pokemon Black and White would like a word with you.
Look, it's the secret
Colours,
Zelda
fine,
Pokemon
fine.
crossovers.
Yeah. So, look, I mean, if Link is a Pokemon like Lincoln, evolves into Linked, evolves into what's that website you do your job things with?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Yeah, evolves into LinkedIn.
I feel like LinkedIn would feel both privileged and the urge to sue in that situation.
Look, I mean, Nintendo.
Like,
can
look,
try,
we're getting
but...
media, but we're also going to sue you.
remember.
The best Pokemon known to mankind currently on screen.
Oh,
Beautiful.
geez.
That's
But
a
yeah.
double scoop.
It's a double scoop of big why. Oh dear. Fuck. It's a beautiful Pokemon. I won't stand for anyone saying that it's ugly.
So was there any other Nintendo news?
Big boy, step down. We weren't Reggie for this.
We weren't Reggie for Reggie?
Yeah, Reggie stepped down as not Pokemon, Nintendo CEO America. And in his place, Bowser has stepped in. But aside
Soon
from
to be known as Bowsette.
can we not, though?
Oh, yes.
We will not be putting that on screen.
Yeah, let's avoid that one.
No, we have to. We must.
Jump to the other side of the pond to Bethesda, or Bethesda-related games. Skyrim's multiplayer. Fuck Fallout. Skyrim's multiplayer.
Yeah, Skyrim together debacle. So, for those that aren't aware of the context of this, the SKSE devs, which in terms of Skyrim modding, these guys are responsible for the framework that nearly every major mod out there uses, if not, like, if it's a serious mod that you're for the game, then it probably uses SKSE. And yeah, they found out that Skyrim Together had ripped off, and pretty blatantly ripped off, an awful lot of their code without asking. And the project actually includes somebody that was outright banned from ever using SKSE again after previously ripping off their code. And it's actually written into the license agreement of SKSE, and this person is named as they will never to use our code.
How fucking bad do you have to be to get a personal shout out from mod makers that you are never allowed to use their code in a legal agreement?
Yeah.
What did he do?
Basically, he stole their work and was a complete dick about it when they approached him.
Apparently he was only like 17 when he did it, though.
Yeah, but what really got it thrown in their face at this point is that SKSE's entire agreement is that the code is to always remain free, and they put it out as a completely free thing. And it's just part of what they do, and then Skyrim Together was taking $1 donations, essentially being paid for the beta access. So they were making a significant amount of money off of stolen code that was free.
Unfortunate.
So, will there be any kind of legal consequences for them?
No idea. There's talk that they could seriously be taken to court for a fair bit of this, but I doubt the SKSE guys will do it. And then it's just up to everybody else involved on whether or not anybody took enough offense.
I've taken offense. I want to
The reality of the situation, the reality is though, the project has probably been pushed back a long way, if not pretty well canned for this.
R.I.P. Skyrim.
Next up, Diablo Immortal.
Oh, don't you have a phone?
Is that Raymond trying to make a vibration sound?
Yes. I can make a better vibration sound.
God bless you.
I was gonna say, just send me a Facebook message and my phone will vibrate.
Oh boy. It's just a whole lot of commas just appeared on my screen.
Well, does
Epic.
anybody have any other news?
A plane
I have
crashed.
TV related news. Actually, there's a boatload of TV news. Hang on, let me dive into this. Talk about something else. I'll find the TV news.
All right, let's go through our part 2 of what's everybody been playing for the last month.
Been playing with your mum.
That's
Well,
appalling.
that's Raymond's input.
Oh my god.
Well, while Raymond's searching, this last month I've been doing a couple of things. The first thing was I broke my PlayStation 3, so I spent a while trying to fix that one. But outside of that one, I finished playing Kingdom Hearts 3. Finished all my recordings for gameplay for that one. Those will be going up over a matter of weeks. And I've recently got back into playing Trails of Cold Steel 2 with the anticipation of the third one being released middle of this year.
Okay. I'm aware of those names, but haven't played those games except for Kingdom Hearts. And I'm sure you and Nick want to dive into 3, but just beforehand, 2... Kingdom Hearts 1, because I decided I'm going to start from the very beginning of the series,
Champion.
has been a test.
Has it slowed you?
I didn't say good champion.
A morale low.
I can't bring myself to play any more of it.
Where'd you get to?
From my understanding, I'm in the boss rush section of the end of the game because
that's where most people stop.
Yeah, I've just beaten Ansem the first time he's actually named as Ansem.
Yep.
He's very handsome.
Or antsy, whichever you want to call it.
And
Quick, play the soundboard.
I'm honestly at the stage that I don't know if I want to turn it back on.
Is it really that boring?
No, it's just difficult. It's like 3/4 boss fights in a row, and if you lose one, you gotta do them all again.
That was going to be my question. Do you actually have to do all of them again? Because,
Pretty much. Well, not the first section, but once you get to the second fight, every fight after that, which is basically like 3 fights because you verse him once, then he becomes Super Omega's thing. You beat him, and then he resurrects again, and you got to beat him again. And you got to do all those without losing. It's a lot of run around, fly around, cure, and then dodge like hell until cure comes off cooldown.
I forget. Do you have Donald in that segment?
For one of the sections, you do not.
So
And if he,
that's why you have potential to lose, because that small bit of RNG of will he give me a cure?
Oh
is
no!
not there.
They're not. Donald doesn't help you in the first part. That's like the first part of the fight. The second and third part, he's there. But you basically have no mana for the entire fight.
Like, I've been hot and cold on the game, and I know there's a lot of people warning me that it's going to be a trial. And
It's fun.
like, I there've been moments that I actually really quite liked. I really enjoyed the Maleficent fight.
Yep.
Actually, I think Maleficent fight was probably one of the highlights. But I don't know if I can bring myself to go through, because I did end up going and looking up how much of a boss rush this was when I realised what I was about to step into, and just saw it go on and on and on the list, and I don't think I want to.
I'm not prepared.
I'm not strong enough.
I don't remember how many times I replayed it, but it was a lot.
I don't remember even watching you play it. I just remember the boss fights being over.
Yeah, well, you probably just closed your eyes.
I mean, speaking of Kingdom Hearts, I don't know if Nick, you read my message the other day, but not too long ago you asked me a question saying, how would I compare the gameplay and the story of Kingdom Hearts 3 to number 2? And I don't know if you read my response. My response to you was that you were right.
Mm.
I
That
think
what? That Kingdom Hearts 2's a little bit better.
Overall, the gameplay is far better in Kingdom Hearts 2. The story is probably on par. But I'd say that the difficulty curve in Kingdom Hearts 3 is probably a little bit higher.
It's harder.
It does. It is a lot harder toward the end of the game.
That could just be because of the increased movement, though. You're basically just moving around constantly.
Oh yeah.
Whereas in the other games, you spend a lot of time learning to block.
I had to learn that. I died quite a few times. I can honestly say it was probably not in my best judgment to not have a refresher of number 2 before I played number 3, because the very first time I started playing number 3, I nearly lost to the first boss because I forgot how to block. I kept jumping instead of blocking, forgetting that circle and square around the wrong way. And then toward the end of the game, I had the same issue where I was jumping instead of blocking. But that's just me.
Yeah, it was a story, though.
Overall, I really enjoyed it. There are, as I mentioned in some of my posts earlier, there are huge teasers for what's to come. But realistically, without giving anything away, I'd probably say we're probably looking at possibly 2 more games in the works, just based on the content they've given us so far at the end of the game, plus that of the secret movie that was patched in shortly after the game was released. So yeah, realistically, looking at what they've probably now learned from what Kingdom Hearts 3 is, and how a lot of people have voiced their desires to have sort of Kingdom Hearts 2 style back with the Kingdom Hearts 3 story. I think once they take that away and look at the next Kingdom Hearts 4 game or whatever comes next, 3.5, 3.8, blah, 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 I think we can see a very big improvement overall in the gameplay, and hopefully we might even see something that actually shines above what Kingdom Hearts 2 is in whatever they eventually make Kingdom Hearts 4 as in a game. I hope that they will do it some justice and make it a lot better than what Kingdom Hearts 3 sort of has been, because in my honest opinion, Kingdom Hearts 3 is a very short game in comparison to Kingdom Hearts 2.
What? I heard it was too bloody long.
No,
Which one?
3.
3 is not very long. I mean, if you want an example, I finished in 29 hours.
Right,
And,
okay.
and I spent a lot of my time fiddling around for quite a few hours as well. So it's probably more like a full days of gameplay was enough to finish the main story. I haven't done any of the side content, granted, but the game itself can be seen as rather short. Which, in comparison to what I've seen Nick play of Kingdom Hearts 2, they probably could definitely afford to drag out some of the stuff you did in Worlds a little bit more, just to extend out or elongate the gameplay a little bit.
I'll elongate you.
Well, they could have afforded to.
Don't be dirty. This is a family-friendly game.
Well, it is supposed to be, but actually, no, I lie. There are scenes in the game where you would think, haha, here comes bloodshed, and instead of seeing the the blood gushing out of someone, you effectively see the smiling face of the attacker and thinking, I feel like this is the wrong perspective. But yes, as you say, it is a child-friendly game.
Right, I found my shit. So, as we know, Game of Thrones is coming next month on the 14th of April. So save that in your calendars. Sunday night, American time. So for us, I think that'll be Monday morning. We'll get Game of Thrones, the final season, 7 episodes, I think, or is it 6? I don't know, but they're all 90 minutes long. That's not what I'm confused. That's not what I'm questioning. What I am questioning is what's going to replace it. And a whole pile of the networks have just started scrambling to try and see what they can make to fill that Game of Thrones void. So HBO, of course, has a running series already called Westworld. That second season will be coming out, I think, next year at some point.
Hey, isn't the
Also-
second season already out?
Third season then. I don't know. I don't really watch that one. They are also doing a prequel series to Game of Thrones, probably set during the time of the War of the Dragons, 150 years in the past, which isn't known, I guess, in terms of what people are familiar with the Game of Thrones universe, but there's a lot more dragons. Now, so Netflix, BBC, Amazon, Showtime, and Hulu have all thrown their hat in the ring for new TV shows. So Hulu is going to be making the Throne of Glass book series into a TV show. I'm currently rereading that one. It's very interesting. I quite like it. It is a little bit too, for my preferences, yes.
Girly?
No, not so much girly as in they spend a lot of time talking about romance. That seems a little bit out of place in the context of the story. I like the rest of it though. It's a small complaint.
But to be
Showtime-
fair, like, when
Raymond,
guys
before
write
I-
romance, they just completely screw it up and like, ooh, she looks hot.
That's kind of what I'm meaning. The
Oh,
first couple
okay.
of chapters of this book is, wow, the prince is kind of hot. He got teeth for days, or whatever it is they used to describe him. So Showtime is bringing to life Brandon Sanderson's series, The King Killer Chronicles. I have heard that that particular series is fucking amazing. I've read his other book series, the Mistborn trilogy, and that's bloody great, so I'm interested to see that one. Amazon is bringing The Dark Tower, The Wheel of Time, and
Wait, really?
The Lord
Wheel
of
of
the
Time?
Rings. Yep, all three. Apparently, yes. So The Dark Tower is kind of being whispered about, but The Wheel of Time is confirmed. The Lord of the Rings is being written as we speak, following the story of Aragorn instead of Frodo and Bilbo. That'll be very interesting to see. Anton? He just opened his mic. So the BBC is doing His Dark Materials. They're adapting that book to TV as well. That one's very anti-religion, so that'll be hilarious to watch. And finally, The Witcher has got The Chronicles of Narnia, The Last Airbender. Apparently this is the first time that they're going to try and adapt The Last Airbender as a live action. So that'll be very fun to watch. I've never seen Avatar: The Last Airbender as a live-action remake, so that'll be very, very intriguing. So Chronicles of Narnia. They also are doing The Six of Crows. I've heard that's a good series. And of course, everyone's heard about this one, is that they're also doing The Witcher, which is scheduled for release in the start of 2020 / end of 2019. So we should expect a trailer for the Witcher series in the next couple of months. So there's a lot of networks trying to fill in the shoes that is going to be emptied by Game of Thrones ending in 2 months' time. So color me very fucking keen to see if any of these shows can step into that role, especially as most of them are for book series that I really like. So I'm doubly interested.
What was that last studio? You called it The Witcher.
Yeah, The Witcher. Yeah, never heard of them.
Oh, is it actually called The Witcher?
Mm-hmm. The last studio is Netflix. Netflix is making The Witcher. So yeah, I'm very keen to see that. For people who are interested, of course, there is a trailer for His Dark Materials. That's the only trailer currently available. But yeah, just type His Dark Materials BBC and it'll throw you to the trailer. It's quite interesting. None of the other TV shows have a trailer yet, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that the instant Game of Thrones ends, they're going to drop some information, some trailers, and start pumping hype up to try and attract those people.
Actually, while we're on TV, and I only heard about this one today, and I know I'm the biggest fan for the series in here, but apparently Arrow is ending this year.
Oh my god, finally. Lay the sweet prince Steve Amell to rest. I love Arrow. Arrow's a lovely TV show, but by god did they screw the pooch on several of those seasons.
Look, it was a good first season.
It was a beautiful first season. Season 2 was even better. But...
Yeah. I
Dodgy ones
I
later
gotta
on.
admit, more than anything, I'm worried about what it means for the overall DC TV universe. Because as much as Arrow wavered a bit, and I still think it was pretty good into the later parts, but yeah, it definitely hit its high points in the first 2 to 3 seasons. I am a bit concerned on what this is going to mean for the others. Of once one drops, I think the odds of another one going are much higher, and then we'll end up seeing the empire that has been built of the DC TV shows slowly fall away.
I feel that they should end pretty much all of the seasons anyway, in order that they came out. So Arrow ends, then we have Flash ending, then we have, I think it's Supergirl end.
No, Legends came out before Supergirl, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, then Legends end, then Supergirl, and then have a new segment of heroes that DC won't crack the shits about if they make a TV show about.
Well,
Next generation.
This is where things get weird, because they've actually announced that they are going ahead with the Batwoman TV show, which will be part of the Arrowverse. So
Maybe
with
they
Arrow,
want Batwoman to replace Arrow.
well, I'm wondering whether or not there's any idea floating around that they'll keep like the Arrow cast around for crossover episodes, but there just won't be an actual ongoing show.
Steve Amell can finally eat normal food again.
I don't know.
I mean, speaking of all that, I've actually been watching Doom Patrol lately, and it's been pretty good.
Been watching Paw Patrol.
I don't think they're going to link that into it, though, into the Arrowverse. You know what Doom Patrol is?
No.
It's just like all a bunch of mediocre powered people that have been surgically like worked on and stuff, and they made their own little DC team. It's got that Victor guy, the cyborg in it.
Yeah, it's got the
Apparently it's sitting in the Titans verse rather than the Arrowverse.
Yep. So that's
that
sort
was
of
a good
like
TV
what
show.
Raymond was saying, like get rid of Arrowverse and starting fresh Titans, Doom Patrol.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, the fucking Titan universe is very goddamn bleak. Holy shit.
Yeah, right at the start when they're like, guys, it's only Robin, it's not Batman. He like beats the shit out of him and he's like, fuck Batman.
Fuck Batman.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I will say that was one thing that the Arrowverse started getting done well, is it actually embraced the lightheartedness of comics once it got through the first couple of really edgy seasons, and once it decided, yeah, you know what, we are we are a comic book TV series, especially once Flash kicked in.
Yeah, when it was just Arrow, it was pretty edgy and dark.
Yeah, but yeah, once they decided, you know what, let's actually be a comic book TV series, I think it started really hitting well. And then you get into the Legends episodes, and it's like, yep, this is comic book the entire way down. This is like, there's no goal of being edgy here. This is just somebody going crazy. Anyway, so anybody else got TV shows while we're on TV shows?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Well, I know we heard from Luke mainly Luke, about what he was been playing. Nick, did you have anything else you wanted to add to that while we're going through what you played in the last month?
No, not really. Haven't actually had a chance to play a lot.
He calls himself a gamer.
I don't think I've ever heard Nick call himself a gamer.
Okay.
Well, not recently.
And we call him a gamer.
I must live up to standards.
Anton, you are allowed to speak.
He said only gay, no mer.
No more.
Gamer.
Gamer.
If you want to talk about games, I've been playing Ashnia lately. It was interesting because it got released probably start of February. The full release, not the early access. And I wasn't here for the last SomeCast we did, but there was a bit of controversy where they're what's the developer? System Error, I think they're called. The EULA. It was worded very strange, and people were crying scandal about spyware being introduced into the game and about them tracking your third party and all that sort of stuff. But I think it all got sorted out this month, and they've updated it, and they've sent out a little press release saying it was only really in there because they monitor your game, and when you have a crash and stuff, it saves a little clip of what happens and why it crashed, and they get sent that, and they can figure out what the bugs were. But yeah, there was a bit of a scandal about they reckon System Error was gonna sell their data to big corporations.
In those situations, aren't there normally disclaimers or something prior to entering the game that you have to acknowledge to allow that to happen?
Yeah, that was the thing. That was the disclaimer at the start. Because early access, and then when it got released, there was a new disclaimer you had to agree to, and people weren't agreeing to that because there was weird wording in their contract.
Oh, well, fair enough, I suppose. It's in people's rights. I mean, if they're not going to take the time to write the contract properly and it's going to confuse people and give them false impressions, then yeah, people will from the right to say no.
Yeah, System Error was just sort of saying that this is their first game release, but they're trying to make a studio that they can, release multiple games, and they wanted to have a contract that just covered everything in it. But I guess they screwed the pooch and they worded it wrong, and a bit of overzealous lawyers, and yeah, everyone got a bit cranky.
Well, that's a bit unfortunate.
Gameplay-wise, it's been going pretty good. There's been a massive overhaul from when I played it a year ago on early access. Just the only issue is they've sort of made it more orientated on space travel. You have to go... Well, Astroneers is obviously a space, and you go onto a planet and you gotta colonize it and get materials and stuff. But they've sort of made it focused where you have to go to other planets to get certain materials that aren't on your initial planet, which I didn't really like. It got a bit repetitive and you had to restart your colony and everything, but yeah, it's been going pretty good so far.
Okay, so what you mean is that so you start off on a single planet. Is the planet common or random?
It's common. It's your starter planet.
Fair enough. So you start off on a planet, and then eventually you'll find a point where you need to get a certain resource that isn't on your planet. So what happens to your current colony? Do you have to basically destroy it and move to another world that has the resource you need, or can you leave the colony up?
Everything stays there. You can place beacons down, which you can see from up in space when you go traveling, and it'll help you crash your ship, land your ship where you put
Crash
stuff.
the ship.
Yeah, let's prefer landing over crashing.
No. Mark's telling his side of the story.
Well, I mean, you got to build a thruster onto your spaceship, and then when you launch up, go to another planet, you can only use that thruster one more time to go back before it destroys itself. So, I mean, crash, it might be crashing. Yeah, so basically each planet has a primary resource and a secondary resource, and there's a bunch of other resources that are like the same for every planet, but there's certain resources for certain planets, and you have to do exploration if you want to keep upgrading and, you know, make yourself more automated and sort of stuff.
Okay, what's the grind like in the game? Let's say you go to a planet that has the primary, secondary resource that you want. How long does it take for you to like move up into the next level of craftables? I suppose.
If you're
a
someone
fast
that's
game?
good at gaming, apparently going all the way to endgame, someone quoted on Steam community that it took them 20 hours.
Okay.
I was like 15 hours and still on the starter planet. I was just walking around, just doing random stuff. But then when you launch, I only had the basic ship, so when I went to the next planet, I went with no resources on me. I forgot to fill my bags up with necessary stuff. So basically, I started fresh again. I started a whole new colony, I had to get all my basic resources and build up all again until I launched back to my other planet. So yeah, it took a while. It took a fair grind.
Fair enough then. Okay. So how would you say the game is to get into? Would you do you play it on a regular basis, or do you just give it a few hours every day?
I mean, I put like 10 hours straight into it when I first went back into it. But
Okay.
yeah, you can do it every now and then. It's pretty casual. Like you probably forget what you're doing most of the time, but there's no like lost progress unless you have a ton of high like end game materials on you and you die out in the middle of nowhere and can't go back to your body. But yeah, it's pretty casual. Like you just do your own thing. There's no monsters that really kill you. Like that was the big thing I saw on the devs documentary they had. It's like the way they handled encounters with enemies. It was basically just deadly plants, and you use your tool you get in the base game to just suck the plants away and like get rid of them before they kill you. And the only thing that really kills you after that is just fall damage and not having enough oxygen.
Is there anyone out there? 'Cause it's getting harder and harder to breathe.
Yeah. Good contribution.
Yeah.
What can I say except you're welcome?
Yeah. I don't know if did anyone play No Man's Sky? Because I sure didn't, so I don't know how well it compares to No Man's Sky. But I know watching the documentary of the developers' progress, they were like panicked, like they panicked so bad when No Man's Sky flopped, and they're like, "Shit, this is basically our game," and people did not like it.
That's because No Man's Sky promised to be the bee's knees of space exploration, and then gave them lukewarm mashed potato from last week.
No Man's Sky promised to be Elite Dangerous plus crafting plus the actual like universe system out of the X series, and then did fuck all.
Did none of those things.
Which might be why Astroneer actually forces you to focus on space exploration as well. Because, like, I guess that's the No Man's Sky way they went. Like, you only really did stuff on your first planet and no one liked it. Anyway, back to Nick, or is Nick just a loner that played no games?
Hello,
think
that
Nick
more or
was
less played no
preoccupied.
games.
Yeah, loner is the bad word. I'm the loner that played games. Nick is the player.
Nick's a player. Nick's been busy moving house, among other things.
Furniture. Moving
You've been
furniture.
doing furniture? Oh, okay.
Moving.
Right. So that's disgusting.
Are you calling her a display?
Trophy.
Moving on.
Oh no.
What about Anton? What's Anton been playing this last month?
Playing.
Belarus.
Actually, aside from that game Stellaris we played, I've been going back to Doofus.
Don't fucking
Oh,
call
actually,
me
it pronounced
Doofus.
Doofus. It's a cute little French game that I used to play, and I'm actually thinking that I might get back into it. It's a really unique French 2.5D MMO.
Okay.
Graphics look really cool.
You look really cool.
Yeah, except it's not the same game that I remember because it's been a long time and the graphics got updated and they somehow managed to introduce a lot of new bugs.
I could have sworn you were going to say microtransactions.
That too, but it's been there for the past few years. Because I started playing this game back in 06, and back then there were no microtransactions, and because of how crappy everyone's computers are, like it wasn't possible to multi-account, and people actually have to use teamwork to do fights.
Yep.
So yeah, in short, technology ruined us.
You're sort of actually describing RuneScape at the moment, I think. Because like, you never used to be able to have multiple accounts logged in at the same time. But now you can, and people like sort of carry their low-level characters with their high-level characters into the PvP sections and stuff like that.
One redeeming factor is that this game actually introduced mono account servers, where you can't play more than one account at once. So it's helping to bring some of the older players back who prefers teamwork over your own pocket team. The only real issue that they are having, that this game have, is that it's a game with a really high French population, a French population that can't speak English. So half the time you're fighting, because PvP is actually a fairly big thing in this game, and it's not unusual to basically have a French versus the rest of the world kind of PvP.
Like, I don't know how true it is, but I swear I see it all the time, like, people saying there's, like, two types of French gamers, like, one being the nicest people possible, and the other one just, like, arrogant French people that can speak English, but, like, they won't, and they, like, you can't speak French. They get angry at you.
It's actually really accurate. Like, this phenomenon's been a thing since the beginning of this game. But yeah, this is not a game that I would recommend people playing unless they are into 2.5D turn-based tactical games.
And sexy French people.
Yeah, not so much sexy.
Oh.
I mean, isn't that, was it Final Fantasy Tactics? Isn't that sort of the same genre?
Possibly. But I wouldn't be surprised if this game is the precursor of all those games, because this is actually a really old game.
Yep.
Just not extremely well known.
So old that I can't actually find YouTube footage.
So old that I'm googling Final Fantasy Tactics now. The last Final Fantasy game I've ever played.
Don't you hate it when you get disemboweled?
If I remember correctly, this game started in back in '04. So yeah, it's just a little younger than RuneScape Classic.
Nice.
Well, Raymond, we ask this question every time, and every time you say Civ. But what games have had your mind this month?
Civilization. I've actually been playing Civ 6. I don't know if you've heard of this before.
From an indie studio named Paradox.
No, actually. Civ isn't made by Paradox. Civ is made by Firaxis.
I mean, that's produced or developed or whatever.
No, Paradox has nothing to do with Civ.
Really?
No, nothing. It's 2K is the publisher, and Firaxis are the creators. I like that Cameron's changed the little icon there to Civ 6, but really what I've been playing is... I need to pull it up.
What are you playing up?
There's my list of recently.
I'm also interested in what you're pulling up.
Wouldn't you like to know? I haven't actually been able to play too many games in the last month because I've been on placement for my degree and then stressing my balls off. So I've been playing a combination of Overwatch, Dota, and Civ 6. I've been trying and failing to record some Civ 6 for the channel, but more importantly, I've been trying and failing to play Crusader Kings 2. Appear to be suffering from some form of bug or issue, so basically every single flag in the game is just a black empty shield. That's it, it's just... The Holy Roman Empire? No, black shield. England? Black shield. The Pope? Black shield. Mildly infuriating and frustrating. I've been playing some Civ, unfortunately. That's okay, I don't mind. It's been adequate enough for me. For now. But now that I'm on, I guess, pseudo break, I don't have to worry about prac. I can actually get into my library properly. I've got the Assassin's Creed that I want to get my fingers into. I want to get my fingers into Kingdom Come Deliverance as well. I want to see what that type of game is like. It looked interesting when it was released, so it'll probably be garbage when I get around to it, but who knows? Might be alright, might not be. Oh, and of course, how could I possibly forget? I want to play Baptist when he comes out in Overwatch. Month has kind of been stasis. Tried to do things, but couldn't.
You tried so hard.
In the end, it doesn't even matter.
Oh my god, you've got Captain Chuckles on screen. Mansa Musa, also known as Captain Chuckles.
Well, to put her on the spot, how about Lauren? If Lauren's going to feel up to speaking.
Oh, back by the way.
Playing lots of WoW. Diablo 3 kind of started up again.
Oh yeah, you've been running that with Tom, I've noticed.
And Tess and Brad and stuff too, so just lots of Grift. Started a seasonal character today. Else, nothing new really, just old stuff.
Well, there's no school like the old school.
So that's me. That's me done.
Wow.
I like it.
Very succinct, unlike myself.
I like it too.
Simple and direct.
Simple,
Blizzard.
straightforward.
Yeah, so I'm still happy to badmouth Blizz, but earning customer.
Yeah, you mainly play their stuff, but yeah, let's badmouth them.
Why not? If they're going to disappoint you. I don't see why you shouldn't.
Hate it when you're an unsatisfied customer, but you just keep coming back.
Oh, fucking Mars came out in Dota. That's what I forgot to say. Dota got a new hero. It's Mars. He's a big tank. He's the son of Zeus. Okay, moving on.
I heard in his first day of being released, there was 12 years worth of gameplay on him.
Yeah, he was picked that many times in Dota that in the space of 24 hours of stat recording for Dota, his total accumulated game time was 12 years. That's not bugged. It has been confirmed as well.
So basically, your total playtime on Steam.
No, I've only got where's Dota?
12,000 days.
2,813 hours. 13 divided by how many hours in a day?
26.
It's only 117 hours. That's fine. Fine. I've
Wait.
only played for 117 days. I've only played 117 days worth of Dota. It's not even a year.
I agree. I'm eager to get those numbers up.
Those are rookie numbers. You got to push them up.
That's wooden tier.
Lauren's also been putting in quite a lot of time in Dota. Wink.
It's all me.
Yeah. Tom's just on the mic at the time.
No, that's still Lauren. She just develops a different voice.
Oh my. That's why Tom can't raid. Lauren got sick and tired of doing two voices at once.
And two characters.
Yeah,
You know
lots
she
of boxing's
killed Tom a
hard.
long time ago and she just does voiceovers.
Yeah.
We're live and you're outing me.
Oh no, we're not
He was
outing
so
you.
young.
He was young.
Well, it was her first appearance and her last appearance.
You
He
can hear
had
the
nothing
cop
left
cast.
to give.
He has outlived his usefulness.
That was long before I went through with it.
What took you so long?
Planning. Really? See? Anyway, next game.
Yes, Lauren, what is the next game?
Who's after me on the list? It's
I
Mark's
don't
turn
know.
again.
It's
Go
my
ahead,
turn
Mark.
again. Slime Ranger.
Oh man.
No, actually, I did play Slime Ranger a couple months ago, but now it's a new game out on the Epic Games, one of their free games. Pretty good. It's a nice little chill
actually-
game for people that like chill Stardew sort of games.
Speaking of Epic, I'm not really fast on having to install a new launcher because I despise the idea of having separate fucking launchers for my games. But Epic have put up a open alpha of a new game called Satisfactory.
Wait, is that an open alpha?
It appears to be. You can request a key.
It was open alpha for the weekend.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
ages
sorry, yeah,
ago.
for the
You
weekend.
had to request it.
Basically, it's 3D Factorio, but it's also leagues prettier than Factorio. I was never really interested by Factorio because of how brown it looked.
It's first-person Factorio.
Yeah, it's first-person Factorio with a little bit of Arc type thing thrown in. As far as I can see, it looks incredibly promising. So watch that space when they bring it into beta, I reckon, because I think that will be a good game to play / watch / examine.
Yeah, it does
when
look
eventually
interesting.
comes up. It looks good.
I liked when you start off, you have like a taser, and you run around and like taser all the dinosaurs and stuff that are running around, and you kill them.
The first thing they added, one of the first things they added to the alpha was the ability to pet baby lizards.
Nice.
They call them lizard doggos. That gets a tick of approval in my books. Keep an eye out. We may actually play that one. Put a couple of videos up on the YouTube channel, maybe, perhaps. Depends.
Sounds almost like Raymond wants to say please like and subscribe, but he just won't bring himself to do it.
I don't do that. I do harmonica melodies.
Actually, I can think of one other game we did play in the last month, and it's one that's sat on the back burner for a long time, but we finally convinced some of the other scrubs in here to play it, and it's called Payday.
Payday! Wolf, come with me! Dallas, follow my lead! Get the fuck up.
So, I think the real question is, because Raymond and I are massively tainted in our opinions of this because of the huge history, Luke and Mark, given that this was the first time either of you really played Payday, what was your thoughts?
The tutorial was hilarious. I had to stealth kill a guard, and then it's like, quick, put him in this bag. So I put him in a bag, a gigantic body inside of a tiny bag, and then I put it on my back. It's like a full-grown man inside of a bag.
When we started playing the game, we didn't actually get a tutorial. So for us, the tutorial is a new thing.
For us, the tutorial was attempting to rob a bank.
Yeah, for us, the tutorial was Payday 1, and that was interesting.
So real life, there is no tutorial, you just have to rob the bank straight away.
Yeah, we did. We hit up an NAB in the Brisbane CBD with Tyson, I guess. I thought we were playing Payday with Matt, but Matt never accepted the gift copy I had.
No, he never played 2, he played 1.
Yeah, fucker. Fuck you, Matt. Asshole.
What about you, Luke?
I enjoyed the game for the time I played it, but I don't think I could outside of the fact that I seem to every now and again have massive game crashing bugs for whatever reason. I don't think I could stand the grind, because a lot of those missions are very similar.
Are they?
I found all the ones that I played are very similar.
What ones did you bloody play? Because if you played anything that involves breaking into a van, there's like 4 or 5 missions that are the same. They're designed to be like 10 minutes long.
I don't think I ever did a van one. Any van ones I did was the ones we attempted to do and failed miserably.
Yeah, they're always difficult breakouts.
But, Luke, are you saying robbing an art gallery was like robbing a bank?
That was honestly the most fun, the art gallery one.
Which part? The part where everything went to shit?
Part
honestly,
where you were all trapped inside and I was just running away from policemen putting the artwork in the van.
Honestly, though, the 3-day version of that heist is incredibly fun. So what we didn't get into, Luke, Mark, was the multi-day heists.
Just flat out, we just never did any of the really big complex ones.
We should really do Big Bank one time. That one's a fucking nightmare.
Well, in the grand scheme of things, there's 5 different banks, and we only did the simplest one.
Yeah, we did one bank. There's also CS:GO Bank, which is honestly, it gives me PTSD.
I don't know if you guys have played any of the other, like how many of the other missions you've actually played, but yeah. But you are right, Luke. There is a point where it ends up just being grind, unless you're specifically trying to hit the really hard difficulties.
Or you're following the plot. And there is a plot.
Yeah, there is a plot.
There is actually a proper plot there, and it gets. I'm pretty sure they added a campaign button.
Is there a plot?
Yep.
Because I remember at the start I went to my base and had a house and stuff, but I've never been back there.
There is a specific order you're meant to do the
heists.
the heists in
the main heists
for the purpose of the plot line. But in saying that, they haven't let the plot get in the way of gameplay.
No. Like, for example, there's a couple of heists where you work for a guy called Hector. Spoilers, because this plot device is like 5-6 years old now. You kill Hector in another heist. And then you can still do the other jobs, and they're still done by Hector. Hector's like, hey, get me some drugs. I'm like, okay, Hector, sure.
That was a very racial comment.
Hector's Mexican. I was trying to do a Mexican accent. It wasn't very good.
That was the point.
Raymond's going to build a wall and make Hector pay for it.
Yeah, we end up killing Hector, and doesn't mean anything. It didn't mean anything at the time. We're like, oh, okay, we killed our contractor. All right, what now? And then they introduced the next patch, which was a new contractor, who gave us a whole pile of new contracts, but they never removed those old contracts.
This is how you avoid paying your contractors. For anybody out there wanting to run a business, you just shoot them.
Kill them. Make sure you do it
Do
in
they
stealth
pay in
mode,
advance?
Technically, yes, because Hector wanted us to pick up bags of money.
Well, that's a terrible contract. Why would you hire someone to grab money and be like, it's fine, guys. You just give me the money. I'll give you less money.
I'll give you your cut. Yeah, we just killed him and took the money. That's a 2-day heist, I believe. One involving the Pommy one. I can't remember his name. He's the one we never played. Hoxton. Yeah, Hoxton. I played Wolf. Cam played Dallas. Tyson played Chains. No one played Hoxton because he was British.
Anyway, did anybody else have anybody have anything they wanted to bring up, or otherwise we might look at wrapping it up.
That's about it for me.
Yeah, it seems pretty good. I think the main thing I've taken away from tonight is I need to eventually get Amazon Prime so I can watch the Wheel of Time TV series.
Yeah, like there's just wow. All right, I want to know. I don't want the Game of Thrones series to end because I've really enjoyed it, but I want it to end because I know they're going to drop trailers for these TV series shortly after that to try and garner the audiences of Game of Thrones to come to them and generate hype around them. I am really keen, and I want to see them done right as well. Unlike the movie adaptation of The Dark Tower, which I heard was garbage.
What was that other book that got turned into a TV show? I think it was on Netflix.
I do not know.
Chronicles of something.
Oh, Shannara Chronicles?
Yeah, that's it. Who was it made by? Like Terry something?
Terry Brooks. It's my guilty pleasure. I quite enjoy watching that TV show. I can't tell if it's good or not, because I don't know what the actual plot of the books are, but I enjoy it.
Alright. We'll call it there, guys. Thanks everybody for coming. And the next one of these will be in a month for anyone watching this as the basically on YouTube version. This is actually done live on the second Monday of each month on Twitch. Our Twitch channel link should be in the description.
If you don't forget it.
Shh. We don't talk about these things.
Why is the icon on Twitch, so for talk shows and podcasts, why does it look like a big orange jelly bean?
Oh, so you didn't choose that icon. That's just a podcast icon.
It's generated.
Yeah,
it's weird. I hate it.
It's multicolored people with headphones.
I don't get it.
You can set your own, but that's just the default because they like to have something there.
Well, Luke, we have a commission for you. Can you make us one that doesn't look as weird?
I will pay you 50 doll hairs.
Doll hairs. Oh, that's a bit saucy for this. Twitch just banned us. That's definitely NSFW. Alright, Cam, let's harmonic out.
And just a reminder for anybody watching that there is a video way back where I can't remember if it was Nick or Graham said for 50 likes they will destroy that harmonica.
It's still in the running.
And just remember, this is him getting good.
I'm out of practice. I just got the thing back.
Sorry.
It's just a wild sorry in the background again.
Alright. Catch us all next time.
Cheers all.
Bye all.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh my god.